Zanele, thank you so much
Hey.
for joining me. I'm excited for this interview because I think you have such a unique experience of entrepreneurship that is not just South African, but it's also that Silicon Valley thing that everyone looks up to. But before we get into that, you spent 13 years working in the mining industry. But how did your journey even start?
Wow, thanks for having me, Mash. Can you believe it? I was here in 2019. Time
2019.
flies.
Yeah.
So my journey started, I'll just fast forward from me dropping out of varsity and going back to Rustenburg. So varsity was at Rand Afrikaans University. So that should give you my age.
Oh,
So
not UJ.
no, no,
You went
no.
to Rand
I was at
Africa.
Rand Afrikaans University, not your UJ, Gen Zs. So second year, I just decided that I have to drop out. I want to go back home to Rustenburg to pursue my passion in entrepreneurship because it has always been my passion. I would bunk classes at varsity, attend or gate crash events, go to Rosebank, Sunturn, Zadi Business, Nasrec, etc. So went back home, started a construction company, and my deal with my mom was that she was giving me 3 years, or I asked for 3 years to say, if this doesn't pan out, I'll go back to school and complete your degree. So I did that, did construction, started with, those subcontracting work where you would be paid 50 cent per mampara stainer, 150 face break, and you have to lay a quota of 400 bricks and get paid per with your team and lepatela kadi ba di bitsang this fortnight. So did that, ran my construction company, and then I did a stint from construction. I did a short stint, 2 years, my first time being in corporate or working for someone else. And how I got that stint was that I sent a cold email to the CEO of Sasol at that time to say, hey, my name is Zanele. I have this construction company. I would like to come and pitch it so that we can get contracts in your plants that's in Sasolburg and Secunda. And came to Rosebank to pitch him. And at the end of my pitch, he asked me a few questions, personal questions and all of that. And he was like, no, I don't want to give you a contract. I want to hire you.
What did he see in the pitching that you gave that made him go, wait, there's something here in this person that we need at this company?
Exactly. I don't know, because he was like, I love your drive and all of it. And the fact that you even sent me a cold email, because it was back in the day, so I sent a cold email, took he even asked me how I came. And I was like, no, I took a taxi from Rustenburg. Like, oh, you took a taxi? But for me and you, that's our life. So he was like, no, I want you in Sasol. I want to hire you so that you can get training on the other side of the business. You're still young. I want you to learn about the other side of the business, the corporate side, the procurement side, so that when you go back to entrepreneurship, now you are sharpened. So I think he just saw this young girl and was like, you know what? I want to empower this one, but I want to empower her in a sustainable manner, not your 2-day ESD workshop, etc., in a sustainable way, inside a company that deals with construction, refinery, etc. And then they put me in procurement. And then I had to move. And then I took that opportunity because at that time it was 15,000 rands per month. And then looking at what I was getting there in subcontracting, and such a big opportunity as well to learn. So packed my bags, moved to Secunda, and started working in Sasol for 2 years. And after 2 years, I came back to entrepreneurship. So that was like my training ground.
Sure.
My internship, paid internship.
Paid internship in entrepreneurship.
Exactly. Brought on by the CEO. I never typed any CV. So.
What are the things that you learned, in that 2 years at corporate that really helped you become a better entrepreneur?
I think I learned systems, because as an entrepreneur, you wing it, and systems and all of that. I learned systems, I learned structure, and I learned the art of service delivery as an entrepreneur to say, if you don't do those things, your contract is going to be like, your contract is not going to be around anymore. Like, you're going to lose your contract. You're going to lose your bread and butter if you don't comply. I think the most important thing that I learned there is compliance, because now you're working in a refinery type of setting where you're working with contractors who do construction, safety, and all of that. So I learned a lot about safety and about compliance, and knowing that if you have those ducks in a row, that builds a business case for you. That means that you start preparing yourself for being a global company from day zero with such small things. Because where I came from, when I was before the Sasol stint, I just knew that as long as I price a tender document right, and I get the deal, and I get people, and we work and we invoice, that's it. You're not thinking long game, sustainability and things like that. But when you have systems and processes in place, when you have compliance in place, it's not only about that tender now. Now you're making yourself sellable to other clients as well. Now you're making the business sustainable. Now you're building something bigger than yourself. So yeah, that's what I learned.
Sure, man. And then,
And pricing, because I was in procurement.
Which is so important.
The art of pricing, because with there, I learned that cheap is expensive. Because that's what I used to do in construction. I would just make sure that I'm the cheapest, get the tender. At the end of the day, it becomes a flop, or low quality, or you end up paying it from your own pocket. So I learned that you can still get the job. Do not compete on price, compete on value.
Do you think competing on price is also just a race to the bottom? Because it's someone else who's doing the same thing as you. Mm-hmm. You guys are constantly just going down and down and down, to the point where the sustainability is not even there anymore. Mm. And if they have way more money to burn than you do, you're always just like competing on the wrong basis.
Exactly. It is a race to the bottom. Even now at Welo, we walk away from deals. If now we can negotiate, but if we can see now this is becoming a race to the bottom, this is going to impact quality assurance. This is going to impact everything. This is going to impact our bottom line. We walk away. That's what I tell my team when they go and negotiate deals. So it is a race to the bottom. And it's always going to be about who has the bigger bag. And in tech now, there are people with the bigger bag. You have raised $1 million. They have raised $23 million. Are you going to compete on price? So, yeah.
Yeah. So you did the 2 years, got your training, and then, you spent about 13 years in the mining industry. Can you talk about now going out of that, opportunity that you got and then starting in the mining industry versus construction?
So in the mining industry, I think that's where I was, shaped. Everything will shape you, every step. Construction shaped me, Sasol shaped me. And when it comes to mining, I think it just, it did the whole scalpel thing. Because when I started in mining, I remember after Sasol, I was like, okay, I need to go back to what I know, which is construction. Then going back into construction, then it was saturated. You're competing now with Bokom Reitzi and Enge, and it was just saturated. It was getting dirty and things like that, and it was not my space. It was not my space anymore. And I was like, okay, because I'm an entrepreneur, this is what I love. I'm from a mining town. I'm from Rustenburg, surrounded by mines. Let me research the mining industry. Obviously, I cannot be a Mutsepe and say I'm going to buy a mine, own a mine, but a mine operates on services. And they also use service providers. Before they can extract the ore, there has to be service providers for different things underground. I was specifically focused on underground services because I wanted to create a niche. I believe in niching down, niche. That's how you excel. And then as I started doing my research, I came across the secondary support industry, where we call it mining underground secondary support, where a service provider number one will come and do explosive, etc. And then it means now the rock is shaky underground. And then we come in to come and support the roof. So in Kasi terms, you say rough cast, when you spray it on the wall. But this time now you rough casting, but it's chemicals and other things that you spray on the wall. And it depends on the measurement. Some of them are 90 millimeter in thickness. Some of them are 50 millimeter in thickness, depending on the rock surface and the instructions from the rock engineer from the mine. And me being me, because I didn't know anything about engineering and all of that, I was like, okay, whatever industry I go into, that has been my modus operandi. I start by being a subcontractor. Subcontractor means that they've already given a contract to Mashudu, who's big in the industry, knows the industry, and Mashudu will say, okay, I'll need subcontractors because this is a contract for 12 mines. Now I'm going to operate with subcontractors. Then you'll come in as a subcontractor. That was my company. Come in as a subcontractor. You paid less, but you paying your school fees. You learning the game. And I remember my first subcontract was with a company called Shaft Sinkers. It was a very big company at that time. They used to sink shafts and do big projects for the mines. It was in, what is it? Anglo Gold. Yeah, one of the deepest gold mines in the country. Anglo Gold in Orkney. Packed my bags, moved to Orkney, found myself a back room, and then started getting a team together. And then we started working. So I would go in with the morning team and the night shift team, just to learn from my team, to learn from the engineers who work from the mines. Then the company started growing until we started getting now our own main contracts. We worked from here, from Rustenburg to your Orkney, to your Northern Cape, Burgersfort, which is Limpopo, all the way to Mpumalanga, which is your Bad Plus. So yeah, did that until the first company that went under, okay, the first contract that didn't go well or went under was the one in, it was in Limpopo. It went under, and we had a contract there. It went under. I had to go back home. The home that time was in Roodepoort because I was married. So our home was in Reimsig. I was like, okay, let me just go for the Satlhogo and all of that, but I'll come back. Then month 2, it was still tough, and I was like, you know what? I need to start now going out because I had a car at least at that time. I need to go out and look for jobs, but I don't have petrol for my bike. I don't have money for internet cafe, etc. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to sell Mogodu tribe. That Mogodu money, that tribe money, is going to be the money for my petrol. So I don't know if you know Zanspruit. The Zanspruit is the informal settlements, kako honeydew.
I get to him.
Kako honeydew, you go bridging and all of that. So I would sell Mogodu there at least these 3 times in a week. Another 2 times in a week, and I'll shelter the petrol and go and look for jobs. And that's where we got our Bad Plus job. We got a contract in Bad Plus at a mine owned by African Rainbow Minerals, Patrice Motsepe. It was a joint venture. Worked there for a bit and got another contract in Rustenburg. The Rustenburg one was the biggest that the company has ever gotten. And after the Rustenburg one, I moved to Bryanston. Life was good and all of that. And that one now, it was a 5-year contract. Year 2 of the contract, the company, not my company, the mining company closed down. They disinvested from South Africa, and they were like, everybody must vacate the mine within 3 months, whether you're an employee, contract, etc. So that's when now, like, everything went to the hills.
You have such an insane story where you're constantly looking for opportunities, big or small, to make sure that things keep moving.
Exactly. I refuse to die.
You have that, like, and recently I had an interview with another entrepreneur, and he was like, entrepreneurs are almost like sharks, because sharks there's a mental thing in sharks where if they don't keep moving, they die. Yeah. Where does that like energy come from? But also, how do you keep sustaining yourself as a person facing these like, difficult challenges? Like something comes, you're like, it'll get high. We'll come back again. Exactly. How do you sustain yourself throughout that emotionally, psychologically, but also how do you constantly still try and pursue and find opportunities the way that you do?
I think it's a bit of madness as well, because when I look at it, I'm like, I wouldn't recommend it for everyone or anyone. So it's a bit of madness. And For faith, I think for me it has been faith, but my faith journey really, it started it started when I went to Silicon Valley, which was 2019. I was a person who used to pray and go to church, but for me it was, oh, I have this beautiful outfit. Let me go to church. Oh, kira ben sa ke kereke, and things like that. So there was no intimacy and all of that. Then yeah, but from 2019 up till now, the thing that has been giving me energy and sustaining me has been my faith. That's why I don't even judge other entrepreneurs when they drink or do this or do, like, you need something. For me, that's something that I held on to from 2019 was my faith. Before then, I was just living, and if I'm stressed, I sleep, get depressed, and all of that. But from 2019 up to now, that's the one that sustains me. Where I make sure every quarter, especially the every quarter one, every beginning of a quarter, I go away. I go away for 7 days, just me, myself, my notebook, my Bible, and then I just go and recharge. And then every morning, obviously, I have before I do everything, I have my time with God. I have my prayer room. That's my special place. And then I strategize. I involve God in my marketplace. That's it all. Hey,
What does
God.
that mean?
It means God is not only for Sundays or only for big things. It's also for every little thing. I'll be in my prayer room and I'm like, God, I sent my Shudu a cold email, and it's been 2 weeks now. I did a nice follow up. Hey, Mashudu, ghosted. Now it's been 2 weeks. How can I communicate to him? Like, guide me. And then I'll just get an inspiration that, no, send him a text, say 1, 2, 3, etc. And I'm telling you, Mashudu will respond. Like, this has happened. Like, if you can talk to my team. I remember there was a time when even one of my teammates, because I was like, okay, what's happening with this guy? Have you spoken to him? This person is ghosting me. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I'll come up with a strategy tomorrow. And then I came back to him tomorrow and said, okay, send an SMS that says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the guy responded. So, like, I involve him in my marketplace.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then, you spoke about niching down, especially when you're going into a very saturated space. How do entrepreneurs look at opportunities where there might be a lot of players, but find something that makes them special or be able to exploit the opportunity in the right ways?
Find friction, because yes, it might be maybe saturated or there's a lot of big players, etc. But big players are not as nimble as entrepreneurs. You won't call them now and say, hey, come for a meeting. Hey, I'm with the CEO. Come to Welos quickly. The CEO of Anglo is here having drinks, all of that. So we are that nimble. Let's use that nimbleness to our advantage. So we are nimble, number one. We are small teams. So small teams, you cannot hide behind 50, 100 people. It's 5 of you having to do ops, finance, everything, strategy, and all of that. So now you bring your all. So I think that's it. And then also, don't say yes to everything. Learn to say no. As entrepreneurs, because I know we need money, we need all of this and we think we have time on our hands. We don't have time on our hands. So use that time sparingly. Do not say yes to everything. Learn to walk away from some opportunities, and also partner. Learn to partner. Don't cry. Don't say, hey, I want 100% of this bread. Some things you will partner. Like here with Welo, we do wellness and benefits, employee benefits. You'll go to an employer and they will ask you, do you do financial wellness? Or can you package us for financial wellness and mental health? We don't have to reinvent our wheel, because mental health is not our specialty. Financial wellness is not our specialty. This is where you partner with your peers in the ecosystem and say, okay, now I'm going to package it like this. Then when it comes, you just divide the duties amongst yourself. But now you still work with those companies.
Yeah. So you spent 13 years, in that mining industry. What was the insight or just like the inspiration that you had to go into building Welo Health?
With Welo Health, it was after my that mining house closed down, and that time, I already have responsibilities. It's 3 kids now. I'm no longer that young girl that went to Sasol, and then I was like, you know what? Because this is my life. I'm going to die doing this. So if I'm going to go back, it has to be something sustainable. And being, at the mercy of people. This one comes in, this one wants to close tabs. This is political. Even in private sector is also political. And then I was like, I want to build something because I know I can build anything. I'm an entrepreneur. But if I'm going to build, it's going to be something that's not only for South Africa or for the African continent. I'm going to build for global. And I'm going to go big. And this is my last stint as an entrepreneur. Like I promised myself that this is my last stint. After this, I'm going to kiss babies, cut ribbons, be an philanthropist, like do motivational just no more. So I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going all in. And then I started researching different industries. I remember one of the industries that I did research and I wanted to go to, but I was like, no, I think the tech took much more precedence, was the underground cleaning in the seawater, the cleaning of tanks underground, which I hope somebody picks this up and runs with it. We don't have enough female or even black players in that field. Or one of those yacht tankers, Cape Town, Devon, they need to be cleaned. There are mostly white companies that are doing that. There's so much money in that. All you need is some certificates, and then you need people who know how to swim. Because load cleaner, and then they give them those certificates, and you have your team, and you start bidding for those contracts. So that was the first one. And then I researched tech. And then I saw that, no, tech for me resonates because it falls with what I want, something that can be global and something where I'm not at the mercy of procurement, tender, etc. You're at the mercy of your users. If you are good, you're going to make it. If you're good, you're resilient, and you just go out there and become part of the ecosystem, you will make it. And for me, then that's how I chose tech. That time I didn't know Welo was or what I was going to build in tech. And I was like, okay, now that I've seen an industry, I need to know more. I need to go and research. So I still have my US visa, still have my 10-year US visa. I will go to San Francisco. I'll go to Silicon Valley to go and research. And obviously I didn't have money, but I managed to get money from, I got into an accident with my last Kosaska donkey. That was 400,000 K to the clock, got 35,000 rands. That was the last money I had on me. I was like, I'm going to San Francisco and I'll create my own incubator program. Obviously, you're not part of YC and all of this incubator. You don't even have a company. I was like, I'm going to go there. I'll create my own incubator program. I'm going to learn about the industry. And I went there. So I booked my ticket for 3 months. I knew that money was just going to last me for 1 month. But I had my vows that I made to God, and I knew that He has my back for the other 2 months. And true to form, He did have my back. And so, but when I was there, like it was like the world opened up for me. I was like, I am so happy that I bet that last 35,000 rands on this unknown thing. Because remember, that time I didn't know a soul was San Francisco and all of that. Because in the morning, Palo Alto, attending a workshop go Stanford, a free workshop. During the day, go Market Street in downtown San Francisco, attending a founder event. This one, at night, you're having dinner with Emma Shudu, who has exited, and all of that, telling things that I didn't even know. I didn't even know about things like exits, cap table, and things like that, because I come from traditional background, business background. You had a 40-page business plan. No, we didn't talk about investors. I thought investors give the IDC when you get a loan from IDC, CIFA, and all of that. So, man, it was just beautiful. Then month 2, money then started to run out, and money accommodation. Then that's when I got an under the table job. They call it under the table job, where you get paid in cash. Remember, I was not qualified. I didn't have the papers.
Legally allowed to work.
Yes, I didn't have the papers to work. Exactly. So yeah, so I found a job in the ecosystem because I didn't want to steer away from my plan, Silicon Valley. So there was a guy who ran the events, for body Twitter and all of that. He ran a lot of events where even top VCs will come and balifedi workshop, how do you create a table and all, how do you maintain it, make it sure that it's not messy and things like that. So what I will do was then before you guys would come in, Lona the delegates, I would now mop the floors, then attend for free his events were at night. So I will attend for free at night, and then Maya, when you guys leave, I mop up again and things like that. And coming from me being a middle class South Africa, auntie, my mom was a teacher and all of that. So but I knew what I wanted. I knew what I was there for, because he paid me $25 per night. So from that $25, I could pay for my hostel accommodation. That time when I go to hostel, I go to back bed. When I remember the first time they gave me a key to my room. I went there, found 3 guys. Then I go reception, because I'm in my room. Welcome to America, honey. This is a unisex. This is a unisex hostel. But anyway, yeah, look at they were like choice. But anyway, no, this hostel living, man, and all of that.
What an insane journey. And like when you set the intention to say, I need to go and understand what this is, this whole different world where business is not like the way, traditional business is done. This is a whole different world of startups and venture capital and this and this and that. What did you learn on that trip?
Oh man, on that trip, I think the best thing that I learned there was that I also belong. I also belong in tech. Remember, I'm a non-techie. I'm a mom of 3. I'm from Africa. Like I'm everything that is not your typical tech founder. I don't twang and all of that.
Hey, Pella, South Africa, you need the twang for the startups.
I said that twang for South Africa. So it was, and that time as well, I was not even active go WhatsApp or WhatsApp. Like you see, killing la fella. So I remember they were like, hey, what's your Twitter link? I was like, you know what, guys? I registered Twitter in 2017. Like, I've never even tweeted anything. I was like, I know you must start building in public. And that's what they taught me and things like that. So I think number one is that I knew that I belonged. That, you know what, when I go back home, I belong here. I can do this. Even though I have all of this odds stacked against me, I know I can do this. And number two, it taught me to start where you are. But as well, with the construction I already taught myself that. But this one, it taught me that even in tech, things do not have to be shiny. Start where you are, push hard, get your paying clients. And remember, go the tender and all of that. You know what? If I don't have a contract, I don't eat. So it was like, get your paying clients, be involved, be hands-on, and investors will come to you. So even when I came back to South Africa, my thing was not fundraising, was start where I am, check it, test it with my users, do the hard work myself in the beginning, and then things will start falling. And just be obsessed with execution. Just execute. So it taught me that. But most important, you know what? I belong. Yeah, even though you're not the norm, you belong.
Yeah. So what did you come back from this trip, what did the earliest version of Welo look like? And then what is the journey of pivoting until you get to where you guys are now?
Yes. So the earliest version of Welo was when we were doing medicine delivery. So COVID, then let me go to Gauteng. I need to go and test this. And the best place to do this is in Gauteng. But obviously, I stayed with relatives ko social nguve. Okay, I'll do a WhatsApp chatbot, simple WhatsApp chatbot. Because I was building in public from day one, I sent out some feelers, and one of the guys that is still, I treat him as my young brother, he reached out, Sabelo, and I think he created that WhatsApp chatbot for me for 2,500.
Sure.
For next to nothing. Where now we will do medicine delivery for people who are using public health care. So one thing that I learned, one of the things I learned go San Francisco was that pivot fast. Don't be married to the idea. Because now my idea was that it's a medicine delivery for Mama Shuda Vanadi medical aid, Baba Nangodi, Sabapong, Pretoria and all of that. By the public healthcare, they were not even on my radar. But as I started taking out the fillers, well, okay, Welo Health medication, and we deliver that medication at your home. The people who were reaching out were Zanele Abraham who work on Mr. Price, Ndate Jani, or Berekango factory, who says, hey, Nakina Lingwa eczema, who has to collect I have to collect that medication every 3 months from Garangwa Hospital. But because because no work, no pay, I'm a blue collar worker. So it means now every time I have to go and collect that medication,
I have to lose the day of pay.
I'm losing the day's pay. I'm losing money and indignity and all of that. So and guys, but let me go and speak to the hospital and find out if they can give me permission, because now that was pivot number 1. Went to the hospital. I remember it was George Mukari Hospital in Garangua. And they were like, we've never done this before, but if they can give you permission, let's try this out. And then I went back to Batuan and Zafona, Zanele, and they gave us permission, and then I started. So what I would do would be, Gaboma 4:30 in the morning, catch a taxi, so that 5 a.m. I'm at the hospital, queuing for my customers. Now I'm seeing now the whole thing, how it works, the friction and all of that's why I'm so excited to get NHI. I can't wait for NHI. Like Welo is ready for NHI. Government must just bring us on board. We have lived this. We know what's happening in the ground when it comes to healthcare, and we know the friction, and we know how we can assist NHI. But anyway, coming back to this one, then I used then and I will call. I had scooter drivers. One thing that I also learned from San Francisco was that you must be asset light. Whatever you build must be asset light. There was no reason for Welo now we must buy our scooters, we must pay drivers full time and all of that. And we've kept that ethos, because once you are asset light, it's easy to scale from here all the way to Zimbabwe, all the way to Zambia, all the way to the US, which is what Welo's next big thing. So nekitsa those guys baba delivering for the pizza, delivering Roman's pizza, etc. Get their numbers and tell them that okay, we're going to onboard you as Welo drivers. So 5 a.m. queue. After queue, once I'm done, probably about 12 or so, phonela Brajo, I'm at the gate, get my 10 packages, go potlo di collector odisa maise. And that's how I started. And then then I started getting students back with the colleges and like social the queuing. And then that's how Welo started now operating.
Sure. That's such a very, recently I saw a tweet, someone was saying, the obsession with technology only solutions is what's breaking a lot of startups, because they don't understand their market enough to realize that because we are in the environment that we're in, there's a lot of analog and like things that you need to do, like they say in Silicon Valley, that don't scale.
Yes.
What were the things that you're learning about your customers and what their needs were in this early phase of like, okay, my customer is not the guy in the suburb now. Yeah. No. It's the person that can't afford to go fetch medication and lose money from work. So those things, like, how are you learning, but also using that to help you learn what the next pivot is as well?
So what I was learning was that people are willing, especially even people in the townships, for convenience. People will pay for convenience. Because when I started, Brajo was scooter, I would pay him 25 rands for delivery. And then Welo, even maybe 15 rand. Like I would charge 35 rand to 40 rands per trip. Then I go, no, I'm not making margins here. Like it's not sustainable and all of that. Then I went back to my clients. Hey, Coco Maria, hey, Oslerato. We have to increase the prices because of this. We have to increase our rates to 79 rand per delivery. And they were like, take my money. Because that time, I couldn't that notion from black middle class, etc. They don't have money, they're not going to pay, let me now compete on price and all of that. People are like, take my money, I'm still saving a lot of money, I'm still saving on the indignity of it all, and all of that. I will pay. So people will pay for convenience. So speak to your users. Those are the things that are not scalable. When you start in the first days, just do things. It's not glamorous, I know. Don't hire. Don't be quick to hire. Don't be quick to hire. As a founder, do your things, especially the sales, the marketing, the operations. Try to do it. If it's 3 of you as co-founders or 2 of you, it's fine. But start doing things on yourself the early days so that you can see the friction and you speak to your users. I still speak to my users even now. Speak to your users. Make it a thing. Speak to your users, and when ish hits the fan, when things go wrong, be the first person that they must speak to, or be the first person that's on the call and speak and apologize. Even though now you have a whole team, apologizing, speaking to them, finding out. Like, learn to speak to the users.
So you go from direct collection of medication and delivery of it. What was the next pivot?
The next pivot was B2B. So B2B as well. The reason we pivoted to B2B was that it's proved to be a more sustainable model. Although I love my B2C because that's where we start. That's where my heart is. But we were like, okay, now we want to look at revenue. Why we want to see growth and all of that. We will come. Let's pack this. Because sometimes you want to be everything to everyone and it doesn't work. Yeah, I'm servicing everyone. Do it phase-wise. So it's a long game, it's boring, but at the end it works. So we're like, okay, we're going to pack B2C. We're going to take that decision of saying we're packing B2C and focusing only on B2B, which was when 2021. From 2021 up to this year, the focus and the laser focus and the niching down was on B2B, knowing that from 2025, third quarter, now we're going to start piloting our first love, B2C. Now that knowing that now the ship is stable, ship is ready, now we're going to B2C. That's going to be in the next quarter.
Yeah.
To say now we're piloting with them and all of that. We're starting with Stockfell groups. So that's how we pivoted. And B2B, we were like, instead of delivering medicine, we're now delivering health. Same thing, now you're delivering health. Meaning, instead of Brajo Atsamayaka scooter to deliver medicine, now it's Nes Zondiwe. Nes Zondiwe is going to Mashudu's home to go and clean your wounds, to go and collect bloods to send to the lab, to go and give you primary health care in the comfort of your own home. But we're not paid by you, Mashudu. We're paid by the corporate. That's where the B2B. So it's B2B2C. So we're still servicing you, but we're invoicing the corporate at the end of 30 days. Or we go into your workplace to go and administer healthcare, and we invoicing the employer. So that's how the pivot happened. Just okay, we're still delivering healthcare, but not medication. Now we're delivering real healthcare to people at home and in the workplace. We've been doing that since 2021 until now, and covering the whole of South Africa. And we've been awarded a huge contract now that has taken us to the whole of SADC. So Zimbabwe, Zambia, Eswatini, or the whole of SADC, the SADC region.
Yeah. So I like the line delivering healthcare, because that means that you're making it a lot more accessible,
Yes.
but also changing the dynamic that people have with hospitals. You spoke about the indignity of going into hospital spaces, being diagnosed, and then bow shout about and this is a very South African experience, unfortunately.
Dilo di move fast, but that time I know it's stigma. Enough efficiency and all of that. But for me to be told to wait on a separate queue.
Sure. So what does it mean to deliver healthcare, and how does that sort of flow work for your customers?
Yeah, so I'll give an example of one of our current clients where we're servicing 8,000 of their members nationwide, all the way from Cape Flats to Soweto to Orange Farm to even the suburbs. So they offer one of those patients that are on gas. So a typical workflow will be They go to our platform because we already have a contract with them, say, okay, for this week, we have this patient that needs to be seen. A doctor, if one of the patients is in Orange Farm, a nurse on our platform, just like Uber, it will pop out, okay, there's a job in Orange Farm, then Motu will accept or reject the job. That's a gig nurse. It goes back to the scalability part of it. None of our nurses are full-time. So it's a nurse or iperekelang ko bo Netcare, whatever, or government. On the days that they're not working, there's an opportunity for them to make money. It's nurse and paramedics. So a nurse will pick up the job, go Orange Farm, go there. Hi, this is Nurse Lerato. I'm here on behalf of the client. And then they will do the whole thing, administer that gas cylinder. I check the oxygen levels, vitals of the patient, a few exercises with the patient. They won't even spend more than 45 minutes at the patient's home. And then the nurse will then go onto the platform to say, I've done this, this has been done, this is the report, etc. And then it's done. So that's the typical workflow of the nurse. And then at the end of a few days, the nurse will be paid their money. So I remember there's also a guy who called us last week. He's a paramedic. So for Woody Cape flats, dangerous places, we send male nurses. So the guy was like, ever since I started working with Welo, now on top of my paramedic salary, I get between 10 and 15,000 rands extra because I know you can push a lot of jobs and things like that. So there's the typical one. And then we'll have the one for corporate where now we go to a mine. We'll go to Sibanye mine. I remember there was a time when we went to Sibanye. Yeah, we do a lot of mines. Go to Sibanye, 2,000 miners on site. Our nurses go there, do the whole thing and all of that. Then you as the mine, you have access to a dashboard that gives you the health life of your business in real time. Now you can say, okay, 30% by diabetic, 40 by young, etc., etc. And then Welo comes with remedies. How can we solve this so that we just help you become proactive in your health needs? So this is what we're doing. And now as we're going back to our roots, as going to add, we're not leaving the B2B, going back to our roots of B2C, we're going to go there with what we call Welo Care, where you will be able to speak to a doctor on WhatsApp, speak to a doctor, or get a prescription, or get a sick note, all on WhatsApp. We call it the Welo Care package. Or a nurse, I could check her once every 3 months, get a nurse checkup and, medicine delivered. So, but there's the one that we're going to be piloting on a small scale in one area until we scale it. Yeah.
This is incredible, and I know it's driving meaningful impact in those communities, right? And also for the corporates themselves. Yes. Healthcare is famous for being very, regulation heavy. There's a lot of trust that needs to be earned there. How difficult was it to learn about everything that needs to be taken care of from a regulatory standpoint? And earlier you were talking about compliance. What does it look like operationally to make sure that you guys are in a position to operate in this area? But also, how have you earned that trust as well?
Yeah. So I think regulatory-wise, we had to have our ducks in a row when it comes to that. Obviously, when you start, you're missing, the ball here and there, you're missing the mark. That's where we said, let's start hiring more medical people on our team. So we do have two full-time doctors on our team and one full-time nurse. Those are the people that helped us, those resources, getting those resources as our full-time resources, helped us plug those gaps where we know every year we have to re-register for this one. We have to do refresher courses on this compliance and all of that. So we're always now keeping abreast with, regulations and all of, and making sure that we comply. And now, as from last year, we started now adding international compliances to our stable or to our workflow to say, okay, now that we are okay with South Africa and we're complying, how do we start now making sure that Welo is global ready when it comes to compliance? And between last year and now, this is what we've been busy with.
Sure. Yeah. You're growing into SADC now. What does growth look like for the platform? But, how differently do you approach traction and growth now versus before? So before, you'd be front and center. It's you, it's your
Yes.
team on the ground. How do you approach growth going into, the SADC region and even internationally?
Yeah, I think the SADC region and internationally, we approaching it in a partnership from a view to say, because it's different nuances. We don't want to go into a country with, our South African,
South African
South African
arrogance.
mentality.
Nakatse,
I
bye.
was trying to find a better word.
Nope.
Messiah complex.
Yes.
Yes. Our South African Messiah complex, but it will not take us anywhere if we, so, and that's where you go in, no, I want 100% of this contract. I'm from South Africa, there are so different nuances, go Botswana, go Lesotho, go in and all of that. So what we do is that, because I also believe in entrepreneurship and enabling entrepreneurship wherever I go, or becoming an evangelist for entrepreneurship. So I will always look for startups like myself or like the early Welo days, people like the early Welo days in that different countries, and say, hey, let's partner. Let's work this opportunity together, and we will upskill you. We will upskill you because this is where you are. This is where we started. We will upskill you because you also want to partner with entrepreneurs, fellow entrepreneurs. We know we have the same DNA. They might not know on the health part or how the systems and processes work. So that's what we do. That's what, even with this contract, we're going to be partnering with startups. Even now, we're already partnering with startups in a startup in Botswana, because we started Botswana last year. So that's what we're going to be doing. Because they know the environment, they know the nuances, they know their user. Why do you have to reinvent the wheel and think that what works in South Africa will work everywhere? So that's our modus operandi. And then it speaks to distribution, because distribution is key. Your money, your revenue, your growth as a distribution. So if you have those people, they're already there, and some of them are like, we already have 5 clients already and things like that. That's your distribution right there. So yeah.
Sure. The way you look at opportunity and just like help empower other people. So I want to ask you just to speak about the impact that you've seen on both sides, right? The one side is the army of gig nurses and doctors and paramedics who are administering the healthcare, but also the impact that you now have on people who are receiving healthcare in the way that they need to, without the friction that they have before.
And the question, sorry, I missed that.
Oh no, just please speak to the impact that you've seen on both sides.
Man, yeah. So I'll start with the healthcare workers. So the impact there has been really good, even for them, because some of them work in your private hospitals, and then you send them to a Sheikh go Alexander to go and administer oxygen care to a child who are 18 months. When they come back from there, they're like, man, we are seeing a lot of things. We are getting so much exposure. Except for the money, we feel like we are doing something. Like, I'm proud of being a nurse, or I'm proud of being a paramedic, because I can see that we are touching lives. Except for the extra money and all of that, because now you've been a nurse and just work in private healthcare, etc. You're not exposed to that. So they do come back, and some of them, So it touches them, it gives them extra money, but it helps them to touch lives in their own small little way. Yeah. And then on the other side, the patients, you would go to a patient, and because I do some of the trips as well with the nurses, and they would even want to pay. So, no, you don't have to pay us, because they're like, this is far and beyond. So no, you don't have to pay us and things like that. And there's a favorite story of mine. It was a lady who is in a double amputee. She was in KZN. And then she would always ask for one nurse. And then we're like, no, this is gig nurses. Then I hopped on a call with her. Mommy, this is a gig nurse. She was an Indian lady. Mommy, this is a gig nurse. So we rotate them. No, I want that other nurse, because after she does the cleaning of my wounds, she gives me a massage in my stumps. She takes my Vaseline and gives, so small things like that. And then we now train all our nurses that, no, you do a massage. it won't take you 3 minutes. Massage those stumps and all of that. So in both ways, there's dignity involved. That's why I like to say NHI must come as soon as possible,
Yeah.
because we have the ability to help government to offer services because they don't have enough infrastructure. This is where they can say, okay, not even Welo, the cake is so big. They can take 10 of similar startups, 20 of similar startups, and say, go into the townships, go into the urban area, go into the rural areas, become our hands and feet on the ground for our people, so that re tlogele dilo tse tsa gore di-line, go di-queue and all of that, so that it aids our crumbling infrastructure. People get health at home. Yes, there will be others that have to go, but primary healthcare, simple stuff, let it be done on also, just like they're doing in the UK, where they gave those contracts to a lot of startups that like us.
Yeah. So, you've been on the top health tech in Africa list twice, but also gotten backing from like the Gates Foundation as well. How have you navigated that sort of impact space where you're not just, a money grabbing business, but also driving impact?
Yeah. So the impact space has been really great because, when we started, obviously, you just want to make money and service clients, and that's it. And then you started getting opportunities like this coming along where you say, hey, apply for this, it has impact. And then when the money comes on, the grants comes in, number one, the impact that really hits me or that I love the most is that those competitions or those opportunities, they help you touch more lives. It means you get more nurses, give more training to the nurses, because we train our nurses, more training to the nurses, impact more lives, buy more things, because now it's not free money, but this equity free money. So I think those type of programs, they help a lot. And it's not only the money part. If you don't just get the money and run, establish relationships with those people, because that's your think tank. Working with Bill Gates Foundation, they have the best of the best as their think tanks when it comes to health, when it comes to preventative health, when it comes to technology, AI, etc. So my advice to most entrepreneurs, don't take the money and run. Build relationships with those people for long term, because that's your free R&D sitting right there. They are just an email away. You were part of their cohort. And then use that information now to upskill your startup. Always be upskilling. Like, you can never know everything. Always be learning, always be upskilling, and be obsessed with that.
Yeah. We're wrapping up now.
Okay.
So what is one thing that you would say to someone who wants to start a technology business in Africa?
Please don't go 100% Silicon Valley. I beg of you. Make sure that you merge the tech with the locality. Localize your tech. Localize your tech, and know that we are in Africa. Not everything can be 100% digital, or you will fundraise. Yes, your pitch deck will be nice. It will be AI and all of those things. 100% think digital. You will get money from investors, but you're not building for investors. You're building for your users, because investor money will come. It ends. That time you don't have revenue. All you must be obsessed with is paying clients and revenue. And to get paying clients and revenue in Africa, you have to find a way to localize your digitization process. Merge something that is local with the digital part. Speak to your users. If your users are WhatsApp people, the only language they understand is WhatsApp, see how you can inculcate WhatsApp in your tech. Don't go for shiny app. Yes, you will get money for that shiny app. You will fundraise and all of that. But then after 2 years, the company closes and you've raised millions of dollars because we skip that part. Do not build for investors. Build for your users. And just spend time with your users. Spend time with your users. But please do not build for investors.
You mentioned execution obsessed. Be obsessed with execution a lot. What does that mean to you?
Small things, like respond to emails within 2 hours. Like small things, it just starts there. My team knows it's part of our values. It's on the Welo. We have 10 values at Welo. One that I love the most is DAVKA, DAVKA. It's a Hebrew Yiddish saying that says, despite. We shall do it despite. Despite, if we don't have investors, we're still doing it. If we don't have this, we don't have a shiny thing, we're still doing it. So Davka, despite. And the other one, which is a value, when you come into Welo as a new employee, within 2 hours, respond. If I don't have an answer for you, I'll respond to say, hey, Mashudu, I saw your email, I acknowledge your email. Can I get back to you tomorrow? Etc. Respond faster. Things like small things that do not need money. So it starts with the small things. So that's execution, being obsessed with execution. And despite Davka, that says despite, is also execution. Okay, we need to do this. We need an AI expert, but we don't have salary for an AI expert. Okay, let me send some cold emails. Let me reach out to professors from Stanford to techies, etc., to ask if they cannot connect me with an AI student or PhD student, etc. So there's the despite part. So it's okay, we don't have money for a full-time one. Let's do that. And we've done that. And now we even have a full-time employee from Stanford because of those things. So push, despite, just push with what you have in the table. Oh, I cannot do that. Okay, let me partner with this person. It means I'm not going to get the whole 100 rands from the client, but I'll come out with $30. It's fine. Let me do this and partner for this 2 years. And yeah, just long game, man. But execution, it's just long game. Daily steps for long game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you know now with this incredible journey that you have that you wish you knew at the beginning of your journey?
I think what I know now is to rest, as self-care. I wish I knew that at the beginning of the journey, because I did go through burnout, because I was like all go mode. And now I know, like so self-care. I wish I knew self-care then. Now I know it. I know self-care. I know how to put myself first. I know how to say no and all of that. So I wish in the early days I would have known that.
Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I think your journey is such an important one, but also I hope it helps people see builders differently. That great tech can come from us, but also that it can build in the right way for us to truly solve meaningful problems. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks for having me. I had fun. Thank you.
Thank you.